Hello everybody. So this video is entitled Free Chinese EV Stocks. Is there a clear winner? And I know a lot of my viewers are going to tell me that Chinese stocks are not investables, that they're off limit. And so if you believe that, of course, don't watch this video. I believe everything has a risk to reward ratio, and I believe the low valuation of EV stocks may warrant taking the risk of buying an ADR. That's kind of my take. But I want to talk about the three main EV stocks that I've kind of identified where the numbers make sense. And that would be Xpeng, NIO, and BYD. And this is going to be a very quick video, by the way. So as you know, Tesla is not a pure play auto EV anymore, like auto company, EV company. Tesla is now doing the bots, right? Tesla is now going all in on AI. So even though Tesla might have been exposure to the EV trade, I'm just not sure Tesla is going to trade in line with EV adoption. I think Tesla going forward is going to trade much more with AI adoption, much more with big tech, with the triple Qs, and therefore it's clear to me that the other side of the adoption of EV trade, the other side of this trade, is going to be the Chinese automakers. Because I don't think Ford or GM has a shot. Rivian, frankly, it's hit or miss. I think for Rivian, Amazon will end up buying it in bankruptcy court for pennies on the dollar. That's kind of my take for Rivian. So what do I left? If there's Tesla, but Tesla is not pure play auto, and then there's the Chinese giants. And I don't think the Europeans have a single shot. I've been watching many videos of the Beijing Auto Show. It's kind of pathetic. Like I don't think the Europeans have a shot at EVs. It's going to be Tesla, and then it's going to be multiple Chinese EV companies fighting it out. That is my take. And perhaps the companies fighting it out are going to be NIO, Xpeng, and BYD, right? I could have put Xiaomi in there, but Xiaomi is not pure play either. So let me begin by telling you what I like and what I don't like. I'll begin by saying what I don't like. I don't like BYD. I think BYD is a crowded trade. You may remember Charlie Munger back in the day being all in on BYD. I think BYD, I don't like the way it's listed on OTC. I don't like the way it's treated by US brokers. It's not an ADR. You're going to get no margin whatsoever on BYD. You can't borrow against your BYD shares. I don't like the way BYD is accessible in the US. And another thing I don't like about BYD is that it's not a pure play. They do have hybrids, they have batteries, they do stuff with batteries. And like I said, the awful trading requirements in the USA make me eliminate it. Furthermore, from the valuation standpoint, BYD kind of sort of as the least attractive one. As you can see, forward revenue growth next 12 months is only 13%. Gross margin's the lowest out of the three. EBITDA margin is pretty good, right? That's why the market values it this way. EBITDA margin's at 14%. It's pretty good. It's dirt cheap, but it doesn't achieve the rule of 40. Why? Because it's not growing the top line fast enough. BYD is very big. To me, BYD, people who invest in BYD, it's all about a multiple re-rating, right? A multiple re-rating, because that multiple is ridiculous. I mean, you're trading at 0.3 times revenue, which is entirely ridiculous. But you can get a better mix of revenue growth, a better mix of gross margin, higher gross margin, and a better and slightly higher multiple with these stocks, but still super cheap multiple with NIO and Xpeng. So I eliminate BYD. I like Xpeng. I like NIO. And now the question comes, which do I like best between Xpeng and NIO? And of course, viewers of the channel will easily guess which one I'm going to say. And I'm going to say Xpeng. Why am I going to say Xpeng? Well, I'm going to say Xpeng because, to me, 47% next 12 months growth is a much bigger deal than 35% next 12 months growth. And I'm only paying a little bit more, 0.17 versus 0.1 for the next 12 months growth. That is much higher. Gross margin is also higher. EBITDA margin, I used the last quarter for both of these they've just both become cash flow positive. Both of these companies have become cash flow positive. So this is some form of an inflection point investing here, as people may start to notice in the coming quarters as they start actually posting EBITDA profits, posting maybe actual profits, right? So people may start to actually notice that. The rule of 40 for NIO, on the other hand, is not quite just there, but it will be there soon as EBITDA margin rises. So, between NIO and Xpeng, which one would I choose? Well, first of all, it's important to note that both of them have quite a bit of a pickup in the deliveries. They've seen quite a bit of an increase in their deliveries. I actually listened to the NIO conference call. It's quite interesting because you have the CEO speak in Chinese, and then you have a translator. CEO speak in Chinese, have a translator. It's not entirely true to say that it's totally non-transparent. There is transparency. It's just a foreign language, right? So you gotta be okay with all of that. If you speak Chinese, you probably have an advantage in this. But NIO, the reason why I put NIO as my secondary choice and I put Xpeng as my first choice is that, I don't like how NIO, for example, double down on battery swapping. Like on the call, they're talking about battery swapping, and they're going on about how battery swapping is still the way to go, and they double down on that. Like, okay, well, I don't think battery swapping is the way to go. Also, to me, Xpeng seems to be much more of a Tesla copycat than you are. And I mean, BYD obviously is also a Tesla copycat. Have you ever been in a BYD Seal? It looks like a lot like a Tesla. But I think Xpeng is even more like a Tesla copycat in the sense that they have a very impressive bot that they're building. If you look at their self-driving option in the Xpeng cars, it very much feels and looks like a Tesla. And of course, remember in a lot of Chinese is all about calligraphy. It's always this debate: is copy flattery or is copy a bad thing? We think it's a bad thing in the West. People in China don't always think that. It could be flattery, right? It could be seen as, oh, you're so good. We're going to inspire and learn from you because you're so good. And Xpeng also has a interesting eVTOL unit, right? So air taxis, flying taxi unit, very interesting. And Xpeng has a very charismatic CEO, I would argue. So I like Xpeng the best. Out of these three, I like Xpeng the best, but check on your broker whether it's Xpeng or NIO. They tend to be very well treated, these two, by US brokers. US brokers looking at them fairly favorably. And I am not a chartist. I am not a technical trader, of course, on this channel. I only do fundamental analysis. But it's true that these stocks, either of those, they have been, either NIO or Xpeng, they have been left for dead. You can see if Xpeng gets back to roughly the level it was in late 21, which was a bubbly level. Now in hindsight, right, that would be more than a 20x, right? Because we're down 85%. So you're looking at more than a 20x if we ever got back. Well, roughly a 20x, right? If we ever got back to the 50s. What am I talking about? 20x, no, 10x. Sorry, I meant to say a 10x. Sorry about that. It's late as I record this. I will post this video in the morning before the market opens. And Xpeng, same. Xpeng, you're looking for quite a bit of an increase in the price of Xpeng. What was the price? Yeah, 50. Yeah. So you're looking at stocks who still have depressed valuations, who still haven't run. So people who are chartists and say, oh, I'm waiting for these stocks to get back to wave XYZ, wave 5 or wave 3, they can look at the stocks in a very favorable way. In my view, Xpeng wins here just based on the numbers. NIO is a close second, and BYD I wouldn't be interested in the way that they are being treated by the brokers. But let me conclude by saying this: it's in the US. We don't see those, right? Because they will never make it to the US. Chinese cars will never make it to the US. There's no way. But if you go, I know they have some in Mexico, but I know all over Europe, all over Asia, if these cars are becoming very popular, whether it's NIO or Xpeng or BYD, they are selling a bunch of these cars in Europe, and people like them a lot in Europe, better cheaper than the European options. And Europeans being very upset, of course, about these cars being sold over there. But I think it's BYD, because of BYD, I know they're moving some manufacturing. Eventually, I believe Xpeng and NIO will also move some manufacturing to Europe, just like Tesla did. To me, this whole EV is going to be a fight between Tesla and the Chinese, and I like NIO and Xpeng. I think BYD is off limits for me, at least. So, anyways, this was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on X, follow me on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.